Among Boov, I do not fit in.
Nobody's perfect. Your mistakes are what make you human.
DreamWorks Home.
The Boov are a race of aliens on the run. One of them, O, makes a mistake that threatens their race being found by the force from which they are running. He in turn goes on the run with a human girl named Tip from both this impending enemy and his own people. The good. The Boov, being an awkwardly speaking alien race with some kind of broken English that they use to communicate with each other, are a weird species, and for this, the actors do their job pretty well. Jim Parsons from The Big Bang Theory plays the main character O, and I gotta say, being Sheldon Cooper has given him plenty of prior experience being an out-of-touch, overly literal weirdo. Pop singer Rihanna plays Tip in this movie, and I gotta say, I was really skeptical about her. But for the most part, she does a really good job. And generally, any discrepancies about her character come more from the writing than from the performance. The iffy. I happened to see this movie in 3D. As most of you probably know, I neither award nor dock points for good or bad 3D. That being said, do not see this movie in 3D. It adds nothing to the experience, arguably something that can be said about a lot of films that have 3D nowadays, but for an animated film, I expected a little more. And got nothing. It's a bit odd to see in this movie that the Boov more or less speak English, as well as possess certain qualities about their technologies and way of life that gain most of their stereotypes from Earth-based things. For me, it was pretty easy to let this aspect slide, but I figured it was worth mentioning. The bad. There are story elements and emotional moments that happen in this movie that have the makings of something really good. But the thing about these elements is, it's like a roller coaster. Throughout most of the movie, my thoughts are very mixed because the story keeps going up and down in terms of things that I like and things that I don't like. It usually comes at a moment where just when I think things are looking up, usually during one of those emotional moments I just mentioned, something happens to counterbalance that moment and I just slump further into my seat in the theater and roll my eyes. And speaking of emotional elements and the roller coastering that I already mentioned, the third act is the worst about this because it peaks in both positive and negative emotions, one after the other, way too much. The broken English speech patterns of the Boov get old really fast and they do not let up throughout the entire movie. And that aspect of the movie becomes very, very detrimental when a lot of the movie's humor is dependent on this aspect. The verdict? This movie was a never-ending cycle of good and bad elements. Things would happen in the movie that would make me think suddenly the dynamic and the tone was about to change and it would become a story that I would be really invested in and really come out of the movie with a satisfying experience. Every time one of these moments happened, I would be proven wrong a few minutes later and I would just go back to rolling my eyes thinking this is just some stupid kids movie. It has a lot of things that are the makings of a good movie, but the disappointing thing is that it just kept falling short. This is Detective Steve, and there's no place like home. But just like in real life, home isn't always exactly the place you want to be.